Hello, everyone, and let's see if we actually hear me in chat, please. I know, I scream loud. You might be, deaf now. It's my fault, but hey, Blame Send 9, I'm here, and I'm gonna be joined soon by our dear friend Revan. Yes, you've heard me right. This match is not casted by Lady Deme. These are the only matches she's not gonna cast because she's playing, obviously. Good evening, day, night, whatever, everyone. I'm really happy to have you with me tonight. So, a quick rundown of what Azure Dreams Random Toolkit is. This is a racing format that we've created especially for loud and clear. Yes, I assume loud at least. This is a format we've created for a tournament setting, a race setting. So these two runners will have to explore the 40 floors high tower that is in the game. They're gonna have to try and clear the whole thing, but to put some speed into the things, they have only 1 hour to do so. And more importantly, if they die both on the same floor, we're gonna break the tie by who's got there first. And so obviously it's gonna be a question of speed. It's gonna be very important to be quick, but also survivability is extremely important. And these two runners are very methodical. Chai and Deme have done a lot of casting, a lot of behind the scenes, exploring the game. Chai has been breaking the game down and rebuilt it from the ground up. Chai is a very experienced runner, but most importantly, I've practiced a lot lately. But you can never count Lady Deme down. She knows everything this game has to offer. She casted so many matches that she knows everything about the game. So obviously we might see a little bit of a slower playstyle, which is super fun to watch because, like I said, more methodical. They're going to use every tool they have, everything they find to its fullest, and they're going to try to climb the tower. Welcome, Revan. Thank you very much for joining me in this fine evening.
Hello, Sandnight. Thanks for having me. We have the runners counted down, and they should be starting any second now.
Excellent. I took care of explaining the rules and how things are gonna work, but I also made sure to explain to everybody who these two runners were, and I'm gonna just read it quickly so you can maybe add on it if you want. But I said it's gonna be a very fun and interesting match because both Deme and Chai, to me, are very methodical player. Not necessarily slow per se, but definitely a more slower type of play style. And they both know every tricks in the book, so it's gonna be fun to see more of a I don't want to say intellectual because I assume pretty much every runner needs to have some kind of an intellectuality, but slower playstyle, methodical, taking their time, optimizing every move they can do.
Oh, for sure. Chai, I've been practicing with Chai a lot over these past few weeks, and he is a very methodical player. Deme, from what I've seen, is actually pretty much the same way. We've seen her showcase the Tumna glitch already. And I know Chai is aware of that, though we haven't seen him actually do that yet. But he is quite familiar with a lot of the spells. I'm interested to see if Deme is as familiar.
Yeah, she does know so much. And we start with a Wind Flame. Wind Cutter is going to be our spell of the day for now. But there's obviously an Egg, Iron, Wood, Pillar. Pillar is good. An egg of an evolved monster or Cuny because there is no name. You can know that for sure, but we're gonna get to see that very quickly. These two runners are definitely hatching that egg.
Oh, for sure. With a wind starter is going to be pretty rough. We got a Granute though, so that should be an interesting choice for these runners to make because neither one of these familiars are going to be liftable. So
yes,
you can have either the easier start or I think probably the Granute is probably the superior familiar here in this situation.
I think so as well. Sadly, the Flame is such a very cool monster. It's definitely my favorite in terms of how good it looks. But I gotta admit, in terms of combat, I think Renews got it beaten, especially since it's also immune to being stolen from by Pickets, which we're gonna get to see later on. Flames makes you immune to zoos, though, so it's not exactly just better to have a Grenute out, but I think still it's kind of more clever to go Grenute.
It might be, we might actually see a fusion between these two later on, because we recently discovered that those traits are actually passable.
Oh, yeah. I agree, so it might be fun to have both. I mean, there's not much that's scarier than a zoo anyway, so being immune to its paralysis ability by fusing a flame onto your Grenade is very nice. But it's only one monster, right? As soon as you're done with these floors, before and after, it's 100% useless. But when it's good, it's so good.
Oh yeah, absolutely. The zoos can be absolute run enders if they get that paralyze off. So it's definitely worth considering. And same with the Griffin, being able to just be completely immune to picket stealing is just such a nice added effect on top of everything else.
Yeah, of course. One of the things I like to know and see about these players is sometimes, more reckless player or bold player are going to play much quicker and try to just rush. But, sometimes mythical player are actually faster because they think more about their playstyle. I like to see that bold player at least once did cancel their mixed magic from AI3 to 2 because it doesn't deal that much different type of damage now, and it's faster to not look at the animation of Flame Sword.
Oh yeah, these early floors, it's definitely faster to not use mixed magic. It's not necessary. Maybe if you're just trying to get your first level up, just
Sure.
so you don't die or get overwhelmed or anything. But after that, it's kind of a time waste, to be honest.
100% agree. I really like fighting with my sword if I get any. Obviously, with the one, it would have been a different story. It's so weak that maybe you don't want to use that route. But even then, even by punching, I mean, you won't kill a troll, but you'll definitely get through a Palumpa or a noise.
Yeah, by far the scariest monster they could encounter now would be actually the flame, believe it or not. Even with it being wind, it's still pretty scary with its sled direct magic, and it has 20 HP, which is kind of a lot for floor 1.
Yes, exactly. These monsters are definitely like when you actually enter the tower on any climb except the first one, which are always the floor the floor we see. The first floor is actually not just a tutorial. Obviously, you already went through that, and there's no flame on that floor. It's only Maneva, not Maneva, but Palumpa, noises, and trolls. And flame is definitely the addition that makes floor 2 much scarier. Once you're level 2, you should be fine, but that first level encountering a flame, you're gonna use something.
Actually, having something to note with this tournament is in particular because they found their starter was a wind flame. All of the flames are going to be wind, though they won't look it. They're actually going to have elemental advantage against all flames with their Grenade now, so they're actually going to be fairly easy.
Oh yeah, exactly. But that makes they need not to forget because they just picked up an ice shield if I saw earlier, and you don't want to have that equipped if you have Neosled or a Neosled, sorry, being sniped from afar. So maybe that's the reason why they didn't equip it right away. Because in a normal 80% playthrough, you find an ice shield early on, you equip that right away.
Oh yeah, the ice shield is by far the best of the elemental shields, just because the higher damaging monsters are typically fire, so just being elementally advantaged against them is phenomenal. But like you said, in this case, with the flames having direct wind magic, that could be a real death sentence.
I mean, yeah, because elemental shield changes your element to another one. Monsters of the winning element against you become very, very scary. Do you care about explaining a little bit more in detail why, Revan?
I think I know what you're getting at here. Yeah, the some enemies in particular, especially with their magic, can be quite powerful if you are the wrong element. If you were around earlier from my match against Poulet, we actually both demonstrated this with a Scorch Shield against Glaciers, and we both took somewhere in the 60 to like 70 damage range.
So yeah, it's very good. Those shields are actually really, really good at making them look worse than they are. And it's sometimes super clever to use them. Juggling them especially is very nice. But you need to always remember, and it's kind of hard because your mind goes so many places during a match of Azure Dream, you're gonna forget one thing. You talked earlier about the glitch where you actually release or tuna monsters in your end and become like tile immunity, right? every runners in this community knows about it, but very few, especially in situation where it's probably the best exit out of that bad situation, uses it. It's not that they don't know; they just think about a million other things while they're in those rough situations, and it just slips their mind.
That is absolutely true. I had several opportunities to use it earlier today, and honestly, it was the last thing on my mind at that given time.
Mm-hmm.
But we have seen Deme pull it off and actually get a win because of that. So it's not the last thing on her mind, that's for sure.
Exactly. That's what I was coming up at. Is definitely we know Chai has been working behind the scene with the game and stuff like that. So he definitely has some kind of inherent knowledge that maybe some runners are knows by instinct, but not necessarily the exact mechanics or numbers behind it. Chai has a more deep knowledge of some of these mechanics behind the scene. But I mean, Deme has that kind of academic knowledge of Azure Dreams just by osmosis of doing so many casting of matches that at some point you kind of feel like she knows everything. Like she's gonna use everything in the kitchen sink to survive all those situations.
Oh, for sure. And I'm looking forward to every second of it. And actually, on Chai's side, we actually saw one of the dangers of being wind elemental. That a flame just hit a bomb trap and instantly killed itself.
Yeah, what Septic Tank says in chat is 100% right. Your brain is always on overdrive, and even though you feel so good when you find a clever solution to what we call puzzle, even though Deme prefer to think of them as little I don't remember the word she used, but smaller situations or yeah, situation requiring toolkits. When you find a solution to whatever bad situation you're in, you feel so clever, but then when you do a big boo-boo, you just forget something, and then you rewatch your matches while there's no stress, and you're like, why did I do that? And obviously it's easy to say once you're not in a stress situation.
Yep, hindsight is 20/20, as they say.
What's gonna be interesting here is we're gonna get to see them fly off floor 4 for Deme. Chai is already on 5. That's the last floor we should see them explore, especially with a fire monster, which is pretty close to what you'd see for a vanilla game. Floor 1 to 5 is rather easy. Yeah, you could die by a very, very bad situation. You're never safe. But realistically, you should be able to clear floor 1 to 5 pretty easily. So you're going to use these floors to actually build up an inventory, get some level, get ready, because floor 6 has got a few surprises for you, and that does include Manivas and Blooms. Maybe you care to explain a little bit why you don't want to see those two?
Oh, in this particular case, they're using fire elementals, and both of the monsters you just stated are actually water elements, so they're going to have the elemental advantage on you, which, as you said before, can be really dangerous. But not only that, the blooms have an ability to brainwash, which is essentially a fuse or a charm on your familiar, and it becomes an enemy towards you for a little while. And the Maniva have an ability to split sometimes, unless you're using a vital sword, which will prevent this effect. But their clones aren't super dangerous, but if you get a bunch of them, they can be a real pain because they block up tiles and whatnot. And especially if you have a bad situation to begin with, just stacking those extra 1 damages up over, it definitely adds up over time.
Yeah, and it also slows you a lot. If a few of them actually gets on screen, seeing them attack, even though it's not necessarily dangerous, is gonna eat up so much time. And it's bad because it's the same equivalent as when you're poisoned or when you have an ice rock. It's not really long. Deme gets very low. But yeah, the animation is not that terribly long, but I don't know about you, Revan, but it feels like a million years to me.
Especially in a race situation like this, yeah, it feels like a lifetime every time you have to watch 2 or 3 enemies hit that ice rock. But the important thing is that you survive, though. That's all that matters in the end.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Deme being low life, if she gets time, yeah, okay, all right. She one shots those wind flames now. But yeah, she doesn't want to get sniped. Now she's regenerating some of that HP. She's gonna feel a lot more confident. And I really like to see that this tournament, especially, both Chai and Deme were not big fans of dashing in corridors, are actually now both doing it, and it's nice. I'm not saying it's gonna happen on later floors, but I mean, this is very nice to see these runners evolving to. Yeah, they're very comfortable playing slow, but it can add a little bit of speed to just ramp up their game.
Yeah, that's for sure. I know you had stated before that Chai was actually in the Stars tournament. I don't recall. I think Deme was actually in that as well. It was a little before my time in the Discord. But you had made mention that Chai refused to run at all in corridors during that, and you can see here he's stutter stepping a little bit, but he you know, he's progressing. He's progressing.
Yeah, because the game lets you dash up into melee with an enemy, which generally the game slows you down if you try to start a dash. If there's an enemy close, it won't let you, but if you're already dashing, it won't stop you. It'll let you go as far as you need into melee situation, and sometimes that's going to be the difference between, like, especially if you have a blinder ball or something, you need to cast that from afar. Well, you won't be able to because, you know, you're not in, now you're in melee, you're going to get hit. And Deme right now is in a rough situation. I'm not saying it's because she dashed, obviously, but maybe she could have encountered or engaged in a different way if she wasn't. But at the same time, you cannot just walk all the way through. You're gonna just lose because the other one's gonna reach for you before you.
I like this play that Deme's doing. She tossed a wind seed at this bloom to get the elemental advantage on it, and she can end up killing that faster and try to get her Renewed out of danger, I think is what she's going to try to do here.
Renewed goes down here, yeah.
That's unfortunate. At least she still has the wind flame to fall back on, and she's not too far in the tower. It's not too late to start leveling it up if she really wants to.
Absolutely, especially on those water floors, this wind monsters have a chance to actually catch up real quick and real nice. The wind magic is going to be great to use right away, but obviously, like, it's a very, very good monster. Like, we were arguing on which one was the better, but to be realistic, the differences are a little nitpicks. They pretty much serve exactly the same role as a damage dealer support, so it's not good, or it's not better or worse. They can find seed to change their elements anyway, but I was talking about feeling like a million years. This is what I was talking about.
I was just about to bring that up. Yeah, you can see on Deme's side just how long it takes. Those ice walls, I believe they have. Actually, I don't recall how much HP they have. I know it's quite a bit, but they also only last a certain amount of turns. And on these low floors, they're going to last for quite a while.
Yeah, they have 255 HP, which is the maximum amount they could have had. But yeah, Chai's using that time, and it's sad to know, like, he's using the fact that she's really stuck there to really fly. He's already on floor 9, I think.
I didn't catch what floor he just got to. Is it like 8 or 9? Yeah, you're somewhere around there. He's in a bit of a sticky situation here, though. That clown isn't necessarily too much of a threat, but he does have the ability to de-level his familiar. The U-boat, on the other hand, is... Yeah, especially with high ground, U-boat is water element against his fire element, and he has the high ground, which is going to give it even more damage.
Yeah, absolutely. I think Ice Rock is a clever idea, especially, if the U-boat feels like, yeah, let's go. And now we can go away. That's really nice, because now the slowing down of Deme's playstyle, well, Chai's going to have to go through that as well. So,
Yep.
We're slowed down to a crawl.
And Deme's getting a couple levels on her flame now. She got to be feeling pretty good about that. And she switches to a wand now, which is actually going to increase her damage by just a little bit. The way wands work, just having a wand equipped in general is going to make your mixed magic, well, generally will make your mixed magic stronger. There are a few exceptions to that rule. Yes. But then there's also elemental wands that, if you have the correct element, in this case, in Deme's case, she would want a golf wand. It will actually give you another damage bonus on top of the wand. But here we can actually see both runners are using a paralyzed wand, I believe.
Yes, paralyzed wand is going to be nice, because it's very it doesn't happen often, but I think it's 1/16 chance to actually paralyze on it. So when that happens, you're always happy, but you can never form a plan around it. And when it actually happens, you probably had a plan that didn't require paralysis anyway. And so it's not necessarily the greatest one ever, but it's a nice to have, especially early on where you're gonna, expect taking some hits back. If you don't, well, that's just extra HP in your pocket, and you can, use that resources as because that's really fun. In Azure Dreams, you regenerate 1 HP once in a while by just walking around or waiting turns. And once you realize you can pick up monsters, but if it fails, you get trucked in the face, or you can, fight back against some monsters. You can start to see HP as another resources in your inventory. It's like a charge of a ball or the use of a tunic, but it regenerates. So it means that if you actually, after using it, get it back before getting into your next encounter and starting losing HP again, then you've used a renewable resources in exchange for one that isn't. So it's much better, right?
Oh yeah, HP is definitely a resource in this game, and careful management of it can take you very far.
Mm-hmm. And the thing that makes it even more interesting is those traps. Makes it so you cannot use it willy-nilly, because even if you finish an encounter knowing that after that the whole room is clear, right? You cannot be below like 10, right? You're gonna get hit by a bomb trap or a slam trap, and then you're dead. You won't see those before you step on them. So you kind of need to manage it by always keeping as much as you can, but kind of spending it as well. You don't want to be too much below a third, though.
Yeah, some of these traps can be pretty deadly.
Oh no! Oh no!
Oh no!
That's a misfire! Oh my god!
Did she hit it with her pillar ball?
Oh yes!
Oh no!
Oh my! Oh my!
Well, that should get her picking up the pace a little bit. Typically, if you run familiarless, you're on the move because you can't really fight back effectively. So let's see how that works out for her.
Yeah, those flying monsters on different elevation, it's really hard sometimes to know exactly where they are. You can get used to look up at your minimap because it's going to give you a better idea, but the color of your familiar and the color of the enemy is actually the exact same color, so it's not always easy to know which one is yours and which one is the enemy. I can absolutely also understand that you probably feel some pressure. Chai has been very successful in the tournament so far, but I mean, wow, that's a rough. That's gonna, knowing that your second pet has died because you killed it is gonna be weighing on her mind, I feel.
Let's just hope she can keep her cool and
not
let her get to her too much.
Yeah, she's a cool girl. I feel she's gonna, touch her a little bit and then she's gonna recover. But I mean, obviously running familiar less now is kind of rough. But she's level 8, which is very decent on those sets of floors. See, she already deals 10 damage to those pesky little Dreamins, so she's gonna be rather fine for a while. But when the Kraken start hitting, she's gonna have to have a plan, and I know she can, but it's gonna be rough.
Yeah, I didn't actually get a look at her inventory. If she has a good inventory, she can take this quite a while. But going familiarless with either a low inventory or not so great of an inventory can be really painful.
Oh,
and it looks like she doesn't have much of an inventory. What is this? 3 go-up traps in the same room.
Oh, he doesn't even go for them.
I think he's looking for the collar.
That makes sense, actually. Yeah, he definitely wants to be immune to those zoos. Alright, that makes sense.
In this case, it's definitely a good thing he used those trap loops, because he more than likely would have hit at least one of those go-up traps.
Damn, for sure. 3 in the same room? Dodge that.
Deme's only a floor behind at this point, and with no familiars or eggs, she won't have to spend any time looking for the collar. So she can definitely make up some time here.
And, playing familiar less, like you said, Revan, is the best way to play, unless it's the worst. The problem is you never know if you would end up need a pet anyway. But if you know you can if you could know beforehand that you didn't need any, that no situation is going to require having a partner, it would have been better from the get-go to never have any. But obviously, that's not that easy. Having that, again, not necessarily a renewable resources, but I mean, a pet is a resource you can use maybe, I don't know, 40, 50 times before you need to recharge it with an item. So if you see it as a charge of a ball or something, that's by far the best item in the game, having a familiar, right?
Well, not only that, but it's also another source of renewable HP. You can have it face tank for you over and over and over again. As long as you can keep its HP up just above being able to get one shot, it can be a quite effective tank. Or in some cases, you can just outright sacrifice your little familiar buddy so you can live.
Absolutely. You know, she's going around with some shenanigans. Obviously, is going to use some other ice rock, which was the play. Don't get me wrong, but again, it's going to feel like such a slug to her, and I'm sure she's just like, oh, please kill it now, so I can start dashing again. But you know, Chai is in a similar situation, and she's not far behind. So we're going to get to see how she's going to get out of the room Chai is in right now, because that was a scary room.
Yeah, there's only a 1 floor difference between these runners right now, and like you said, Chai is essentially in the same situation, having an ice rock up, having an enemy hit it, and actually Deme just found the elevator and the collar in the same room, so she's actually on the same floor. However, during this tournament, the way this tournament functions, I should say, is that because Chai got to the floor 13 first, he's technically still in the lead. And what an awful room Deme spawned in because of having no familiars, I assume.
It was very similar on Chai's side. It's worse on her side now, but it was really bad on Chai's side as well. I think there's like n extra monsters on Deme's side. But yeah, she's going to be able to, you know, try and run away. This ice rock is going to be huge here. And as long, like, the only thing she's thinking is, please, Kraken, stay asleep. Everything else is fine. But she's good.
Absolutely. This ice rock ball is paying off dividends for her, that's for sure.
Yeah, ice rock is a very nice use of an item. Like, the only thing we have against it is definitely the fact that it's so slow, as in it takes so much long time for enemies to whack at it. But as long as it takes the first extra hit, it's so good.
And it looks like Demi's gonna take the lead here, actually.
Oh, do you think there was a trap room with only bomb traps? Maybe not.
That could have been quite interesting.
Oh, those happens. It's like 1 in 5 million something. But it's so nice. I mean, I say nice because I'm not playing right.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. It's not so great when you're the one running through the minefield, but in this case, you know, we're nice and safe in the commentary booth, so.
Oh yeah. So actually, you see, she is kind of in the front, right?
She is. She has taken the lead, and she has access to at least 1 pillar ball and an acid rain ball now. So she's definitely getting an inventory together. All she has to do is kill a couple monsters here and there, because she actually gets more experience not having a familiar out. So she can gain those levels, and you know, she can be good to go.
Let's go, Deme. Absolutely. Leave that room and go. That's very nice, because I thought she was going to use Acid Rain there, and I can tell you now I don't think that would have killed any of the Garudas.
No, I doubt it. Not at the level that she's at right now. I think she really needs to pull out that pillar ball again.
And she goes for the pick. Oh my god, no. Run away.
Hey, she's put herself in quite a spot now. I don't know how she's going to get out of this one.
That's Ice Rock again. Oh, that acid rain.
I don't think the acid rain is gonna work.
No!
Oh no!
She's gone.
And Deme down on floor 15. Chai needs to get to floor 16 to take this victory.
Absolutely. So, like Revan just said, getting on a floor, if they both die on the same floor, the tie is broken by Uga there first. So if Chai reaches floor 15, that's not enough. He kind of needs to do it again and reach floor 16, and then he's actually going to get the race, because she can never reach 16. She's dead now. Still a valiant effort. Very rough situation, having to, you know, lose time to kill her own monster. That's rough. But, I mean, she knows what she was doing after that. She was making sure that playing Commando She could survive as much as she could, but I know Chai is a very conservative player. I don't see him make any too rough mistakes considering the items inventory he's got. I think he's going to be fine.
For sure. Through my practicing with Chai, I can say that if his opponent dies early in the tower,
Mm-hmm.
he has a pretty significant clear rate. So there's a pretty good chance he's going to get to the top. So you definitely need to keep that in mind. He may not be the fastest runner, but he is definitely consistent, and that in itself can be quite scary.
Yes. To answer a question is chat, yes, for Sharson, actually, they do prevent Picket from stealing from you. Even though sadly, we won't get to see that because as soon as get it on the first Picket floor, it's already going to be game for this time. But yeah, it's a very, very nice monster to have, especially in its fire form. It's also quite capable of like soloing Pickets so easily. So it makes them absolutely useless, and then you can actually even farm one on your side. You don't even care about being stolen from. It's not going to work.
In that situation, the being stolen from is probably the ideal, unless you're trying to get experience.
Yes. Which I think you should because they're worth so many and they're generally so easy as long as you can, farm them. It's not too long to kill and they're worth 170 something. That's a lot of experience.
Deme seems to be having some troubles with getting the next seed. I don't know if there's anything we can do about that.
Is she now? Give me a second. Did she send you a direct message?
Yes, she did. I think it has something to do with her windows.
Ooh.
We will get working on that while Chai finishes up his floor 16 run.
Mm-hmm. All right. And here we go. So yeah, absolutely going on to the next floor. I think that's going to be a game very soon. We're going to try and make sure that the next game is going to be set up really easily and very quickly. Floor 15, he needs to get out of this situation and then, or actually this floor, and then he's going to be fine. Right. This room is kind of a pain, but considering almost every monster is asleep, that shouldn't be too much of a problem. He's just commanding his monster to, if you don't tell it to, he's going to move behind you before starting to following you again. It's going to take a hit. At some point, he's going to have to devise a plan, but yeah, just go back, hit the enemy is going to be more than fine. With the use of AI1, you can actually kill them before they can even do anything, so that's a big plus. Yep, using higher elevation here.
And he's gonna command his grenades just so it doesn't try to do any shenanigans
Oh,
going where it
and
wants to go.
paralysis on top of everything. Let's go. Are we good on Demis side?
Yes, it seems she has resolved the issue and everything should be fine now.
Marvelous. All right. Because it's gonna come up very soon. Actually, Chai going up with the star glasses. He really doesn't want to stay here. He saw a mini monster that was in the starting room. He doesn't want them. Now they're roaming, so he doesn't want to get pincered later on by some bad shenanigans. Making sure to not keep any loose ends. He's gonna kill that, so it doesn't follow him around very easily. Using AI1, you deal just enough damage to kill and reach you. You don't even need to pick up and put behind, which you cannot do with a green anyway, because they only are pickable if they were a griffin before, which is not the case of this green.
Yes, and these floors right that they're on now are actually where it starts getting to a point where you really don't want monsters following you if you can help it, because if you get pincered on floors like this, it can be really, really, really bad.
Yeah, exactly. They're like the Garudas are not too tanky, but they hit hard, and the New Elves are actually the opposite. They don't hit too hard, but they tank pretty darn for way too long, especially with a fire setup. So they really don't want to get and the trolls hit hard as well.
Yeah, the Mules in particular can really be a battle of attrition just because they actually have the ability to self-heal.
Yes.
And if you can't out damage their heal, they will run themselves out of MP doing it.
Yeah, but during that time, you're skipping turns, hitting them, hitting them again, and during that time, other monster can come and pincer you.
And it looks like Chai takes round 1. We'll get them set up on their second seed. Meanwhile, what do you guys want to see for their starting
Oh yeah.
familiar or their eggs or any of their starting gear?
I don't know. What do I want to see? Okay, wait. There's two monsters that we have not seen yet in the tournament, and that's a crime. And we got to talk about those two monsters. I don't care which one, but I want to see one of those two, please. The first
Yeah.
one is a freaking Naples. Everybody's been talking about Naplises, and we never see any Naples. That's a problem. But the other one is a killer. I want to see a run with player using AI1 and killers. It's going to be crazy, and we've never seen that yet still.
Yeah, and we've actually been doing some maths over the past week or so about killers. They're actually one of the strong. I mean, we knew that they were one of the strongest monsters in the game just because of how powerful they are in when you encounter them. But as a familiar, they're actually quite powerful as well, just because of the way that the damage is calculated in this game.
Yes.
They killers actually technically are equipped with weapons, if you couldn't guess, blade hands and all.
Yes.
But the weapon that they come equipped with is actually, I believe, the strongest weapon.
Yes, it's
I
8
had at a plus
damage.
8, yeah, at a plus 8. And going on monsters we haven't seen yet, have we seen a maximum? I know I've seen some in my practice runs, but I don't know if we've seen one in the actual tournament yet.
I have seen a lot of maximums as well. I don't think I've seen it during a match though. You might be right, but I do. I have seen a lot of maximums as well. I don't think we've seen golems though. Did we know?
I had quite a few golems in my practice runs. I don't think we've seen one in the tournament though, and that can be quite an interesting starting familiar.
Exactly. Yes.
Yeah,
Because they are very interesting because they both have very weird. I don't want to say a trait because it cannot be passed down, and luckily during fusion, but they when they use an attack, a direct attack, they spend 2 MP instead of 1 as any monster would, and it's a lot of MP. It's the difference is huge, but they have so powerful stats. They hit hard, they tank for a long time. They are both very scary. Like their starting stats is pretty much just starting stats of a level 2 to 3 starting monsters, and they're level 1. It's crazy.
the golems though they're actually pretty difficult to use because, like you said, they have an expensive AOE spell at 4 MP a cost.
Yeah.
But not only that, if you try to use the AI one with the physical attacks, it actually consumes 2 MP instead of the 1, and the maximum actually acts the same way. So
Yes.
the maximum though does have a single target spell, which makes it a little more usable in my opinion.
Yeah, the mixed magic is flame sword, pretty much the same as what we saw with the Grenade here, or the usual CUNY. So it's kind of less stressful. You can spend those for half an MP, exactly the same as you would with CUNY, and then you can use that very strong AI one at a cost of 2 MP at a pop. But yeah, you don't want to use it. Golem is going to be, like you said, very rough to use, but very good. We're gonna get Chai set on track, ready for the second match. Like I said, I want to see either Killer or Naples. It would be fun. Like Naples, especially, pretty darn strong monster.
Yeah, both of those would be good to see. The Naples in particular, with its spell unlocked, is a great familiar. With its doubled HP, it has a nice single target spell. And if for whatever reason you don't like him, his double HP trait is passable through fusion to something else.
Yeah, very good. You rarely use your pet to tank on your side, but you should. It's really powerful. When you have a Naples, it can take so many hits before anything bad happens to it. It's just crazy. All right, we're gonna get set up for the next race. Let's do that.
Yeah, the Naples is a familiar that you can kind of toss the elemental disadvantage out the window just because it has so much HP.
Mm-hmm. Yes, exactly. You can just let it tank some hit for you. It's just so much HP. It's crazy. And when you fuse it, it doubles the HP of the monster you fuse it into as well, making it a definite possibility of a tank. But you need to share the pain if you do that. If you just, put it behind you as you would any monsters, because it learns breath, if I remember correctly.
I think it's breath or sled. I can't remember off the top of
Yeah,
my
it's
head.
either or. But I mean, if you use it as they just use the green unit behind you, that's kind of very useless, isn't it?
Yeah, you're not using Annapolis to his full potential, using him that way. I definitely think, I mean, you're obviously going to want to keep him behind you, but you're
Yes.
going to want to put him next to you as much as possible, just to soak up as much damage as he can without dying.
Yes.
Just because he has such an extensive HP pool, and like we were talking before, HP is definitely a very valuable resource in this game, and with him having double. It's pretty insane the amount of damage that he can soak up.
Absolutely. We're gonna get to see what monsters they get, but we already received a message from China Discord that says really, so I don't know what they're gonna get. Is that the same monster again?
I'm not sure what he was. Oh, I guess that's what he was referring to.
My
Now,
god!
I know Chai has gone on record several times saying that he is not a speedrunner, but we just might see him become one right now.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, these aren't seeds I made, right? Because if there was no way there was a Garuda as a starting monster.
No, I will take full responsibility for making these seeds. All I did was check to make sure that they were not Haikyun, and I had no idea. Chai actually offered to send me his tool for identifying what the starter was, but I turned him down because I wanted to be surprised, and boy am I ever surprised.
It's a normal wind Garuda. The first chance you get, you want to change that into a water one or fire at the least. Wind is a very bad defensive element to have in a tower because so many things that deals damage is fire. And so, very importantly, considering the Garuda is never going to be used as a fighter, you really want to have it as a.
See, I don't know about that. With it being the starter, it actually has lowdown and range magic, and I know Chai is quite fond of that. So we might see him use that just a little bit, just to get a couple early levels. But after that, I mean, do you even bother hatching the egg in the seed? I don't think you do.
I don't think I would. You keep it to have MP recovery or at least egg bomb in worst situation, but I think people love lowdown a little bit too much. I think this tournament is going to teach a lot of people about lowdown. It's a really good spell. I love me a good clown. Definitely in my top 3 of favorite monsters in terms of damage dealing and everything. But the reason why lowdown deals damage, it's because clown gives it twice the level it should. Lowdown is a very weak spell by itself.
It is. The lowdown spell is made great because of the clown. Like you said, it has the double magic growth, and with that, it's still a good spell, but it's not it's not game ending like it is with a clown.
I think you don't even use it on wind monster, it's so weak. On water monster, it's always going to be good. For the same reason fireballs are always strong against wind monster in tower, but honestly, it's much weaker than people know it to be because 99% of our experience with this spell is from clown because it's probably the one you're not going to find the easiest with that spell and the lowest in the tower as well. Pretty much everybody's played the clown at least once.
Yeah, I think in their case here, they're gonna want to switch to either probably water ideally, but if they can get fire, they should probably go with it just to get off of wind, so they don't hit a trap and unfortunately lose their Garuda early.
Yeah, absolutely. Bad up the.
And to answer a question from chat here, the randomizer does not mess or touch the inherited traits of familiars at all. That stays the same. The only thing that we're changing here is normally you would start with a familiar named Kuhn, And here we are giving you a random familiar from anything evolved. The only exception to that is Haikun, because there's a couple of glitchy things that can happen with having Kyun, or Haikun I should say. And the monsters are also going to have their spells unlocked if they didn't have one already, and their element is going to be changed.
Yeah, randomized.
Well, not necessarily changed, but yes,
Yeah,
randomized.
It's kind of a really interesting to make sure that every matches kind of feel different. Obviously, there's going to be strategies that are going to come back. There's 6 monsters total that can learn either the wall or the mirror. So the paralysis strategy I love so much is going to come up often if you find the right items to either fuse or change the element with seeds. Like there's 4 fire spells that becomes a sword spell like a flame sword, and also there's a water one that does it as well, which is the heal, or actually the 4th also. So we're gonna see some strategies come back around and around, obviously, but you can see favorite playstyle. Sometimes the monster is just better than the other one, but sometimes you're gonna see 2 tamers actually decide with 2 different monsters just because one likes one strategy better than the other. But in the case of a Garuda, I think that personally, and I know it might be a very bad idea, I would have started dashing from one floor to the other right from the get-go, not even looking. Well, probably looking to get level 2, but then just do.
Yeah, I think the ideal strategy for a Garuda starter is obviously to get level 2 as fast as possible, because that's your most important level up, without a doubt. You go from 16 to 26 HP, I believe. It's pretty massive. It increases your survivability by an astronomical amount. But after that, I think you just go as fast as you can while collecting as many items as you can until you get to the water floors, because they started with wind. You get a couple levels there as you're trying to collect more inventory, and then you just gun it to the top.
I think so, but I would even remove the grinding on water floors, because grinding on water floors, even when you have a wind monster, is actually hard. I mean, U-boats you cannot just abuse. They're going to be under the ground, so they're going to hit you once before you can even start to fight. And they're not worth nothing. They're worth, like, what, 16 XP? That's nothing. I even when I have the advantage, I don't think I would grind on water floors.
I think ultimately it depends on what items they find, because if they find some, especially if they find some fireball, like fire attack balls, I should say, pillar, blaze, anything like that, they can pretty effectively take out Garudas on higher floors, especially since they're still wind, and Garudas, pickets, any stuff like that are actually worth quite a bit of experience, and with using a spell ball makes it pretty trivial to take them out. So that might actually be the play, I think.
I think so too. Yeah, for sure. People are talking in chat about iCUNY or iKid or any of the dark wave using kind of setup. I gotta agree with Septic. It's not a for sure win, even though that's a very, very powerful tool. Let's make sure we understand each other's. But I think it would have been fun to let it be a thing. It wouldn't have happened often. It would have been interesting as a setup to have iCUNY matches once in a while. The reason we did prevent it from being ran is just because there's so many bugs and we had so many self locks that it was not. We didn't want to run a risk to after we do a whole lot of matches, it did happen. But the idea of having a very powerful monster as a random choice or possibility, I thought was actually very interesting.
It really is pretty interesting, because it's not like you can use Dark Wave at every turn. It actually costs, I think, 8 MP or 6. It costs quite a bit of MP. And unless you finagle your way into passing on that Dark Wave spell onto something like a Mule, a Kid, or a Picket, you're not going to be able to use it all that often. So when you're going to have to be really picky about the situation. Oh no, Chai just got frogged. He might lose his Garuda here.
Oh wow, okay, so Garuda decided not to engage for some reason, because generally they just go ham on you. Oh man, run away from that. Okay, he's good. Yeah, that could have been scary. Frog is the worst bad status because you're gonna see slowly your pet go fight and die. And there's nothing you can do. You cannot open the menu while you are a frog. So you cannot just tell it to, come back and just stop fighting. And that's a very slow and, mentally draining way to die.
But going back to Haikyun quickly, I like what Septic had said in chat about just because you're using Haikyun or you manage to get that Dark Wave spell onto something else, it is absolutely not guaranteed.
No.
I run New Game Plus occasionally, and I have lost many a run to random things between you're not paying attention and you incorrectly use Dark Wave and you actually end up killing your own familiar. That is absolutely possible. You could hit a bad warp trap and your familiar just doesn't have the survivability because you're trying to go fast.
Yes.
And there's all manner of ways that things can still go wrong. Don't get me wrong, Dark Wave is a fantastic spell, but it also has its drawbacks.
And the other thing is, even though that's extremely powerful, don't forget that in a specific setup like this tournament, your opponent also has a Haikuni or whatever you have that can cast Dark Wave. So it's going to be a question of who does it the fastest, because the animation is very, very long of watching that giant turtle crash down on enemies. So you don't want to use it as much as you can. So you're going to try to work around using it actually. And if you work around not using it, then why do you even have it, right? It's going to be more of a break in case of emergency type of thing, right?
Yeah, exactly. Especially if you are using Haikyun itself without it being fused into, like I said, the Newell, Picket, or Dragon, where you can just recharge their MP at a whim. Mm-hmm. It's definitely something that, it's a costly spell. It's something you have to really consider when is the time to use it. It's kind of like the same principle with the Holy Bell. It's a really powerful tool, and you have to really decide when you need to use it because you're not going to find them very often. So you want to get the biggest bang for your buck, as it were.
For sure, but also I'm gonna say something terrible. People are gonna hate me more. They're gonna blame me. That's fine. I'm used to that. I'm not a big fan of Holy Bells. Realistically, 95% of my death happens in corridors anyway. And I generally have combats in room figured out, especially if I have a pet that I can use to juke enemies away and then bag and run. So almost every time I die with the Holy Bell on, I couldn't have used because I was just dead in the corridor. I'm not a big fan.
I can see where you're coming from, but it's kind of I consider them like your pocket ace. If you spawn, especially for when you go up an elevator, you always spawn in a room, and there's no guarantee what's going to be spawned in that room. It can be a real get out of jail free card. But I see where you're coming from, though. A lot of times you do end up running into those really bad situations in hallways, and it's not going to help you at all in a hallway.
See, look at those two screens. Nobody can use an Holy Bell now. How useful is it really? But you're 100% right. I'm making it worse than it actually is. When you spawn in a room is definitely exactly when you want to have one. And also, 2 words, Monster Den, Serapho for in chat. For sure, for absolute certainty. But Monster Den, 95, not 95%, I don't want to say that again, but I mean, it feels like most of the time, especially with monsters being asleep, it happens and I am like 2 steps away from exiting the room anyway. Obviously that's gonna flood the floors with roaming monsters and it's scary, but it's kind of rare that I die to Monster Den, even though there's video evidence of me dying to 1,000, but that's something different. I don't know. I really think that Holy Bells generally only saves me when you just spawn in a terrible room and there's no exit close. Oof.
Oh, Chai got lucky with that brainwash not getting his Garuda. That could have been pretty bad.
Yes. I like what I'm seeing right now. I would have been much more aggressive with my use of Garuda. I think exploring is much more safe. But I felt that if I would have done it, I would have paid by the other person being so much in front. Right now, they're both exploring, so nobody's getting punished for that. So I think that's very nice to see that they both can take their time and pick up some inventory. And I assume they're gonna start going zoom zoom roughly around 410.
Yeah, probably. I think they're going to. Well, Deme still hasn't reached floor 6 yet, but I think once she does, with her Garuda still being wind, she'll probably feel fairly comfortable searching around a little bit if she still has inventory space or items that she wants to replace. But like you said, once you hit floor 10 and it goes back to being fire elemental stuff, that's when it starts getting scary again, and we'll probably start seeing speed pick up around there.
Because right now they're only using it when they get into a bad pincer situation, and they're using it like as a get out of jail free card, which it is. Don't get me wrong. This is exactly what Garuda are, but you can also use them for speed, not necessarily meaning that you should always abduct.
Oh my! A roche fruit on the ground.
You gotta be frickin' kidding me! What do you even roche?
I don't. What do you roche at this point? Honestly, I think you just keep it for a really bad situation at this point. I don't think you really need to go out of your way for anything. Maybe if they can last long enough, you get a napless just for the survivability.
Use it as an Ulim, probably?
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. I think you just use it as a makeshift Olim, and then you get an added egg bomb out of it.
People in chat, second degree Garuda, there's like 3 in a row, yeah.
I mean, yeah, that is a possibility. That's definitely worth considering.
Because at this point you gotta, completely embrace that you're playing Garuda, right? So
Exactly, yeah. I'm going on the assumption that they're not going to lose their Garuda though. So, but having that backup Garuda, because especially with a Roche, the egg that you get from it is actually fairly warm, so you don't have to spend a ton of time warming it either. So that can actually be a pretty clutch move to have a secondary backup Garuda.
Well, Septic hopes that Deme is gonna find the Roche fruit. Well, right now she is playing exploration, so I assume she will. But if she does change her pace or her approach to her gameplay right now, she might actually not get it. Wow, this is a very intense and very interesting race. So many things. Garuda, Roche fruit. It's crazy because, like I said earlier at the beginning of this match, these two runners know every tricks in the book. And I know that right now their brains are firing overdrive, being like, okay, but I would have used a Roach on a Garuda, but what do I use it on right now? And I know their Rolodex of monster information right now is spinning in the wheel, and they're like, yes, maybe, no, yes, that, no, right, double attack, double HP. When do I even pick up, right? I mean, you could pick up.
This is something that I would be really struggling with if I was a runner in this situation. I don't know that I would get a secondary Garuda.
Mm-hmm.
I'd like to say that I'd probably use it as a makeshift Olim and just try to get me out of a tight spot.
I think that's what I would have thought about first, but the more I'm thinking about it, I like the idea of a block fuse into it, or Napless, or whatever. The block, you'll see earlier a little bit. I mean, there's a million ways to go at it. Roche is such a great item.
Oh, for sure, and finding it on the ground, no less. Didn't even have to go to the casino to find it. That's an incredible find.
Yeah.
I know we've seen Roche fruits in the tournament before, but I don't know if we've had them just on the ground. That's pretty incredible.
Not in this one, though, but we've seen that in other tournaments. But it's a 1 in 4,096 chance to spawn that every time an item is spawned in the floor. That's, crazy high, very, very rare type of item. That's madness. Even from a barong, it's a rare find. So imagine finding 1 in 4.
Is Chai trying to find the collar?
Absolutely, he is, and especially with the Roche, I guess he's got a plan.
Yeah, maybe he has a plan for that Roche fruit already, and he needs the collar for it.
Absolutely, he's got one, because I don't think he would... Oh, alright, corridors. Your Garuda's not gonna help? Okay, it's fine. Oh, stupid doorway!
It's just a dreaming.
It's 5 damage, that's a lot! You might die to this! Okay, it's good.
Yeah, just abduct away, Chai. Just abduct away. Let the dreamin' have this victory.
You tried to pick up the madman! If that failed and he got sleep again, he would have died. At least you should have stepped one step behind before. Oh, I'm so scared now.
And there's Deme's roast fruit.
There you frickin' go. She's gonna be really happy to see this, I can tell you that right now. Using a true glasses
What?
to any flame she's got. That's good. Very nice. 3 charges.
I don't know if Chai has, but I just saw Deme has quite a few elemental seeds. I'm not sure why she's keeping her Garuda Wind elemental at this point. I don't think it's doing her any favors.
I agree. I would definitely change it to any element that's not wind right now for the Garuda. I would have told you that she had a plan as well, but she didn't get the roast fruit before having all those seeds, so I don't think that's plan related either. I don't know. Yes, there we go. She heard us, I guess.
Yes, there we go. Very nice.
Yes, I really like that. Now, maybe she was scared because she was on the water floors that are fire, but even then. Anyway, fire monster, fire Garuda now. She's gonna be fine. And we get the Phoenix spell. Hits twice, once range, once in melee. Doesn't deal a crap ton of damage, but that's still, you know, better than nothing. And the paralyzed one has a chance to paralyze on top of everything. She can abduct, she's in danger. She's got options.
So, Sand Knight, are you a fan of, if you have a Garuda, do you run on foot or do you just abduct until you get to the elevator?
Run afoot, obviously. It's not quicker to abduct yourself than to run. And you can get into the same room all the time, whereas when you run, you're going to always go into unexplored section if you can. I think it's much more optimal to dash and then only abduct in bad situations.
Deme passing up the go-up trap. Does she have a plan for something on this floor?
She cannot take that fight.
Oh no, yeah, she definitely can't take this fight. She needs to abduct away.
Yeah, like I said, Garudas are surprisingly... Not Garudas, sorry. Lowdown is surprisingly bad. She was not even close to killing that Griffin. Yeah, take that go-up trap. Oh my. Oh my. She's got a plan. She's got a different plan. Okay, she's taking it. Alright, she's got
There, yeah, there we go. There we go.
Yeah, she probably was going to, you know, explore a little bit more, trying to find some good items, but now she's on floor 12. Is she gonna go for the, you know, blue collar is the question.
I don't know if going for the blue collar is the play if you have a Garuda. Unless you find it on your way to the elevator, I don't think you go out of your way for it. Though they do have a roast fruit, so I mean, being able to choose what you want to fuse into it does give it a bit more cause, I guess. So it would definitely be a toss-up for me at this point.
Well, she is looking for it as well because she didn't pick up the elevator there. Going for the abduct.
And there's the collar.
There you go. She's gonna be quite happy about that one. Yeah, I don't know. Septic says in case of the cure-all, I think they have a water crystal to heal. I am pretty sure Chai's got one. Maybe Deme didn't get it, but I'm pretty sure they both did.
I think they both have one. Maybe Deme hasn't gotten quite high enough to find it yet. I'm not sure.
Oh, that was earlier, like the floor 6 or 7, so I'm pretty sure she's got it as well.
Oh, and we have an egg that could also potentially be a Garuda, if I'm not mistaken.
My, all the Garudas, potentially. Yeah,
this one though, I think, without knowing what it is probably food or a bomb though.
Yeah. Like the monsters you want, you already have. So just, you know, and the time it's gonna take to, you know, eat it up is really not worth it in my opinion. But I mean, I think it's fodder.
Pretty much, yeah. I don't think there's. Oh no!
Rise, the Griffin rising to the occasion, making sure that he makes his presence known. She's gonna abduct so fast out of this situation, and she's further away. Oh no, she's just there. She needs to go down, and there she is. Oof. That's different, very different playstyle. They're both playing conservatively with a Garuda, which I've never seen before. I think that's really interesting. They just, I guess, don't want to have to deal with the downsides of playing Garuda, where you end up on floor, 34 while being on level 3. Oh, that was a warp trap. Oh.
Yeah, he hit a warp trap as soon as he walked in there. Luckily, he was able to save his Garuda from that troll walking in with a lucky pickup.
Imagine having such a good inventory that you need to clear something for an exit.
Can you imagine having to use that rose fruit to save his Garuda potentially? Would you do that?
Oh, re-egg it, you mean? I would. But I mean, Yep. He feeds the shield, so that's just... That was, what, an iron shield? So that's worth 3, so that's 1 extra defense, yeah. And Lady Deme says no to floor 15. She just doesn't want to have anything to deal with this. She is not far behind at all. They're both actually going very similar pace, which is kind of interesting considering Garuda can make or break a run. And that's one of the things that's not seeded realistically. So they can have both use abduct exactly the same time on the same tile and have very different results. So these games can be wild, but they're actually very close to one another.
Czaj choosing to use his Roche on a Arachne.
Really?
That's an interesting choice. I know Arachne is his favorite monster. I don't know if it's the ideal fusion here, though.
I don't think he's going to fuse at all.
You think he's just going to use it as a fighter?
Yeah, he's going to...
And run 2 familiars?
Yes, that's what I think is going to happen. He's going to use Arachne for as much as he can, and then he's going to only abduct in bad situation. But he'll need to bag beforehand or lose the Arachne. That's bad.
I mean, he could pick the Arachne up and do the abduct. That will work, but then he'll have to spend a turn putting the Arachne down every time.
It's always scary to get randomly somewhere. I don't think you want to get randomly somewhere with something in your hands.
Yeah, exactly. I don't think I've ever seen Garuda played this way, so I'm interested to see how it works out.
I mean, you could fuse them together and get a Garuda that can actually pack a punch, but I mean, Garuda's physical attack is fine. I don't know. That's a very interesting choice, but like I said, these are two very intellectual, very knowledge-based players, so I really want to see how they tackle this. I'm not saying that they're gonna make the craziest play, but the fact that I don't know how they're gonna play that out definitely gets me excited and riled up. I want to know.
Exactly. Czaj clearly has a plan here, and I'm not sure what it is. So I'm really keen on what he's looking to do. Oh, Deme actually just lost an Olim to a picket. That's kind of sucks.
Absolutely.
I don't. With an Olim, that's a pretty powerful item. Do you stick around and try to get it back, or do you just go? I honestly,
no,
unless
I convinced myself in my head that I threw it at the picket and he doesn't exist anymore, and that's another one. And I make myself feel better that I use an item to clear an enemy, right?
I mean, in a way, you kind of did, because it'll leave you alone now.
See, it worked. If it comes back, that's another one, right? 2 hatch on a higher floor for a better level. If fusing, it won't matter. Better place, yes. Yeah. But it's not only the floor. It's the lowest between the floor count you're on and coast level. So even if they are gaining floors right now, it doesn't matter much because they're gonna still only hatch at level 8. Now, obviously, if Go gets some level up, that's fine. But right now, they're really starved on experience. I don't know that Deme is used to be that high with such a low level, being so low level. I think that's going to be very scary for that kind of situation, right?
I can attest that it is very scary being on these high floors at that low of a level where you can only take 1 hit at most from anything. It is, and with Garuda's ability to randomly put you in a room, it could put you right next to 2 enemies, 3 enemies. And actually, Sand Knight here found out through trying to do some shenanigans with Garuda that if you attack before you get abducted, the enemies actually get 2 turns before you get to act.
It's weirder than that. It's not if you attack. It's if you attack and don't hit anything. If you actually attack something, they only get 1 turn.
So you just have to attack the air for that to happen.
Yes, and now explain to me why that happens. I have absolutely 0 or even -1 idea, but it doesn't work the same for some reason. Oh my, she loved that Garuda just for a second there, I can tell you that. Alright.
And we're not seeing too much of a difference in floors right now. They're only 2 or 3 floors apart, I think.
Oh, it's a little bit more than that.
Deme's just now getting to Viper Town.
Yeah, he is still on Viper Town, but he is at least on 23 because it's not the green grassy terrain. So I'd say 23, 24. So they're still having at least 3 to 4 floors difference. But yeah, she already found the elevator. If she can get to it, yep, there she goes.
What is... Oh, I don't think he saw that unicorn there and he pushed it by mistake.
I guess so. Now he keeps the egg at 98%, ready for hatching. I assume, like we said earlier, to level it up a little bit so it can, hatch at a higher level. But I mean, Chai has not gained a level in a while. He's gonna get 1 here. But not a big difference in terms of what an Arachne could do. I assume he's prepping up for an Arachne late game, is what I'm thinking. Like 30 plus is gonna pop up the Arachne and see what he can do with it.
Yeah, I think, actually thinking on what he's doing here, I think that Arachne is a backup just because he's expecting his Garuda to die at some point, and then he'll still have a way to climb effectively.
But that's weird because they both are, I say weird, I mean, that's just different playstyle, I get it. It's such a different way to play Garuda. They really don't seem to feel confident or like using it at all. I get that it's gambling every time, but I mean, it's 99% much better than the 1% where it's worse to abduct away. I understand you can absolutely end your run, but I don't know. It's such a different uses of Garuda. Oh my god, no, Deme, please. Thank you very much. Oh. That's much better.
Playing with Garuda is just it's a rush. It's because you can go so fast. You can essentially do what you want and just get out of situations on a whim. So it's actually pretty. I can't think of the right word for it, but like freeing, I guess, is a good way to put it. You can just kind of run around and, oh no, well, I can't go that way. I'll just go somewhere else and start again. Oh no, that hurts on Deme's side.
Yeah.
I don't think she expected that Viper to wake up like that.
Nobody expect the Viper Inquisition.
The Viper Inquisition?
Okay, that's a reference to an old movie. Somebody in chat's gonna get it. I hope. I mean, I'm old, but I mean, I'm not that old. Please, guys, jeez. There's nobody writing nothing in chat. I'm alone. Chai would have understood. He's old. Thank you! Thank you so much! Alright, you as well.
I wasn't sure if that was a Monty Python. You're talking about the Spanish Inquisition, right? Nobody expects it? Yeah. I didn't want to commit to it, but I had an idea of what you were getting at.
That's fine, that's fine. I feel much better now. I feel old but happy. Okay, enough references. Yeah, there are on stealth floors. This is probably by Wooga's experience and mine as well, but I mean, Wooga has been very vocal about that. Those are the scariest floors because you generally end up here with a Garuda very low level. 9 and 12 is quite low, and sometimes you're even lower than that. The enemy that are gonna kill you is the one that you cannot see. And the amount of runs he's lost on Garuda run by getting killed by a stealth is just very scary. So they want to be out of here as quickly as they can. Now they can take a hit, don't get me wrong. Once they receive that hit and they're down to 20-something HP, you start feeling so bad about every step you take.
Yeah, that's for sure. I know in my runs earlier, I actually tried to hold on to monster loops for these floors just for that specific purpose. For anyone that doesn't know, the stealth can actually spawn in already invisible. So if you use a monster loop, it lets you know where all the monsters are, and it actually makes the stealth visible again, and they won't ever go invisible on that floor again.
Yes, it's so good. It changes really everything on the stealth floors. Like there could be another stealth in that room and they wouldn't know. Yeah, that's a very scary monster. It's kind of weak physically. Like it's got HP but low defense and attack, and it kind of needs to have that. If it also was hitting very hard, what would you even do against them? But I mean, at that point, they don't have like Chai doesn't even have a shield. He's level 12, which is a little bit better than Deme, but even 3 little differences gives him 6 HP. That's so little. Oh, 2 level difference. Sorry, but I mean same difference. That's 3 HP per level roughly. Those hits are gonna compound and become a problem very fast.
Chai didn't even give a second thought about feeding his Garuda that egg he just found. I don't know about that. I like the concept of having egg bombs. Though, I mean, not all monsters are super good because especially ones that have spells,
Yes,
they
exactly.
have the chance to cast the spell. And believe it or not, egg bombs can actually miss. It might not seem like it. And they can also be kind of finicky in doorways, but they're a nice little pocket ace.
Absolutely. They spawn at your level plus 50, so in the case of a Chai would have been a level 62, whatever it was in the egg. So that can definitely pack a punch, but it can miss. It's a normal attack that they'll do, or they're going to cast their spell, you cannot choose, and if they spawn, like you said, in the corner with a door, they are going to attack but miss because you cannot attack through walls. Many things can go wrong, or they can just, if there's a pack of monster, they can attack whichever monster they spawn next to, not necessarily the one you've thrown the egg at. But once they hit and everything works out, they actually do pack quite a punch. It's a good tool to have. It never should be your trump card. It never has. You never have to have it as your final solution. It's the kind of thing you use like a blinder ball. You're one step away from an enemy. Why not try it? And if it fails, you have a holy score or something to get out of that situation.
We're seeing a water Garuda now on Deme's side.
As soon as she saw the CC, that was directly fed to the. Yep, no question.
I mean, I feel good about the water Garuda. It's definitely, I think it's definitely the best of the 3.
Yeah, by far. Like, the chances it's gonna get hit later on by those wind abilities are really low. You can always get it out of the way from a golem punch from afar, but the glacier, crystal or ice, whatever, and the dragon breath are 2 things that are gonna get and be sniped, and especially the glaciers, they're very free with their usage of, their glacier ability. Why so many items everywhere? How many item rooms? They're trying to build the Olean Gardens.
Chai having some problem sorting out his inventory. He also switches to the water Garuda. I know he on I believe he's getting close to 30, if not on 30. Oh no!
55 HP exactly.
Oh wow!
Damn it! Can you believe it, Lady Deme? Going down, so unlucky.
It looked like that was a crit too. That was unfortunate.
It was, and it dealt 55 damage. She had 55 health, exactly the amount of health she had. So unlucky. Is Chai higher?
I think he's on floor, at least floor 30 right now by the look of the tiles.
Yeah. You use. It also has killers. So, yeah, that's a match.
Yeah, it definitely is a match. We'll see if these runners want to do a friendly third.
Oh, for sure.
And if not, we'll see if we can get them in here for some interviews.
And we have our winner for the match today. Chai takes it 2-0, but man, Deme definitely fought hard and brave, and she did everything she could. That very unlucky crit from a hidden maneuver. I mean, these situations you cannot always, you cannot know, right? But wow, that was a match. Really, really, really nice match. Lady Deme sadly will be out of the tournament after this match, but thank you so much for having been in the tournament, obviously. And I want to know how she felt throughout this, because she did fight very well. Like, I mean, floor 29, just like a floor behind Chai, is nothing to scoff at. Chai was the winner of the last tournament, the Star Tournament. And I mean, that was so close.
It really was. They were neck and neck there towards the end for quite a while, and she took the lead every once in a while, and Chai would take it back, but they were never really more than 2 or 3 floors apart at any given point.
Absolutely. Yeah, a lot of action happening. People on Discord discussing about how crazy that run was. I think people were entertained, and I really appreciate when everybody gets just super excited about how crazy her run was. And she definitely did all she could. But Chai was just a little bit better this time, and there was going to be another time, right? But for this tournament specifically, Chai's moving on.
It looks like they are not going to have a friendly third tonight, and doesn't seem that I can create an invite for the
I'll try to do
interview.
so. Give me a second here.
We will get both of the runners in here for an interview shortly. Excuse my combining of words, thinking faster than I can speak.
It's because you're too clever.
I'd like to think so. I don't know if it's true though. So while we wait for the runners to get into the chat here, or they're here already. So if there's any questions for the runners, feel free to type them in chat, and we'll get them read out.
Absolutely. I need to know. Well, first of all, congratulations, Ty, for moving on the tournament, obviously. But very good job on Lady Deme's side as well.
Thank you. I mean, let's exaggerate. That first one could not have gone worse if I were deliberately trying to be bad at it.
You were deliberately trying to, shoot yourself in the foot, sadly.
I was not deliberately trying, no, and that kind of hurts.
I'm sorry, but I know it must have been hurting a lot. Sadly, a little scuffle with a football, but...
Right. I shot myself in the foot, but I wasn't trying to.
Yeah, I get it. That second race, though, Garuda, that was really interesting, and I need to hear from both of you, because the uses of the Garuda, what was your reasoning behind, using it very sparsely, making sure to only use it when there's no exit other than that one? That seemed like a very conservative use of the Garuda. Are you... Because obviously we all understand that this is a very scary item to use. It can just lead you to your death, and there's nothing you can do. Was that the reasoning behind using it a little bit less on both sides?
I would say so. Also, the fact that thing bled MP like a stuffed pig.
Yeah,
I think I probably actually could have been a bit more sparing. Maybe used some more of my Blaze Ball charges on a couple of extra zoos, got that MP. I'd like to hope the crit mattered, but it probably didn't, because that's not a lot of HP to be running around with.
It did matter. It killed you.
Yeah, it did.
You had.
It was unfortunate. That crit actually hit exactly your max HP, unfortunately.
Yep. And that is just unfortunate.
Yes, exactly.
That's an unfortunate side effect of going fast with the Garuda. It can get you out of a lot of sticky situations, but there's just some things that it can't help you out of, and that was one of them, unfortunately. I do have a question about your Garuda use, though, for both of you, actually. Both of you actually used its spell quite a bit. How did you feel about about lowdown without the clown's double spell level? Did you think it was a little underpowered, underwhelming, or?
Definitely underwhelming. A little better once I got it into fire, but just not especially useful. But you can't just have no HP or levels, so it's kind of, well, to use. I felt like the MP cost of using the mixture magic was worth it for the little bit of time saved to try and get what EXP I could.
Yeah, it's pretty much same for me. I consider down the best spell in the game due to the fact that it's ranged, and if you can attack with elemental advantage, simply nothing can beat it. Yes, it's a little bit underpowered compared to when you have clown, because obviously the spell then it's like crazy powerful, but still it's mostly useful when you've got elemental advantage. It's just that you have to do 1-2 more hit than normally with a clown, but as it's ranged, you've got the range to do it, so it's still amazing. And I still remember, Revan, your run in your first match where you were doing like crazy Garuda strats, where you were so underleveled. I don't feel comfortable doing that, so yeah, I prefer to like get my levels, use Garuda when need to, etc., etc. As you have seen, I have also had a backup, because like the moment we found the Roche fruit, I knew that it's going on Arachne, and I was even considering like, maybe I should like put away Garuda and like go with Spidey, but I was a little bit low level for that, so I was thinking that it's gonna be a backup just in case.
I was wanting to use one on an Arachne, but you know what? I never saw one.
Whoa, lucky you.
I even waited a couple of turns by the elevator on those floors.
Yes.
On 16, basically, through 20, I waited by the elevator bit going, so, spider? Maybe one late Garuda, hoping for maybe a late Garuda on 16, but otherwise, spider? And nothing. Not a spider to be found.
Yeah, that was going to be my next question, actually. We were both theorizing about what you were going to do with that Roche, whether it was going to be a backup Garuda or a fusion, like a Annapolis fusion for extra survivability, or if you was going to use it like a backup Oleem with the added benefit of an egg bomb after the fact.
Mm-hmm. That was certainly something I was thinking about doing if I ran into sort of the right thing, or at least the right situation. Once the Arachne was no longer viable, because I can't wait there forever for one spider. It was just sort of, well, I guess I'll figure out something when I get there. Maybe a kid, I don't know, whatever.
I think I would have probably like waited for a spider, because like there's such a crazy good monsters. Like any time of the day I will take Arachne. I know that those floors are annoying because you've got tickets to worry about, but still.
Didn't happen for long enough that I was like, yeah, no, Chai's definitely going fast. There's only so long one can wait.
Yeah, I get you.
Did either of you feel like you were in the lead at any point, or were you playing like you were coming from behind, or how did you guys feel about that last matchup?
I think
pretty slow start, and like, look, I knew I wasn't going to win this match. I knew I wasn't going to do anything, and I also knew I am actually surprised. I would be surprised if I were not behind perpetually. Maybe on that first one, where after a while I was sprinting pretty hard, but I also had that slow Ice Rock ball use that just took forever. Ice Rock, please die or something.
I somehow like felt that my early floors in both games were very, very slow. Even with Garuda, I should have probably used it more, and because it was wind, should have gone to water floors and level up there rather than fight with Paralyze Wand that was like giving me quite good luck with the paralysis itself, but of course I still need to hit it like 4 or 5 times because the attack power is so low. So I was sort of thinking that I was always behind.
Well, you guys were much closer than you give yourself credit for. You're gonna want to rewatch that match for sure. It was really interesting to see how, especially in the second one, you guys were like what, a floor difference at the end?
Yeah,
When-
you guys were within 2 or 3 floors of each other pretty much the entire time. Outside of, I think Chai got off of the beginning floors a little faster than you did, Deme. But after that, you caught up around like floor 10, 11-ish, and ever since then, you were only maybe 2 or 3 floors apart at any given time. You were actually pretty close.
That's good to know.
Yeah, it was a really fun match to watch. Obviously the first one had some situations, so obviously that was a little bit less close. But the second one was so close. To be honest, it was really entertaining, and I'm really happy. And I gotta say thank you very much to both of you guys. It was a very nice match to cast.
Thank
Yes.
you.
Well, thank you for commentating.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Riven, for joining me here today. We just realized today this is the first time we've casted together. It was a blast.
It absolutely was. I had the greatest time casting with you, Sand Knight, and I hope to do it again soon.
Oh, definitely. I can't wait. Thank you very much for the Speed Gaming crew. You guys are wonderful, and it's definitely thanks to you guys that we can make these events happen. It's so nice to know that everything's going to be taken care of. You're doing a great work, and without you guys, there is no Azure Dream tournament, or it would be so different. It's beautiful because you guys are working so hard on it. And thank you very much, people in chat. You guys are also wonderful because it's nice to run knowing that you guys are watching. I like knowing that you guys are putting some hype into it, reacting to whatever is happening. And it's because of you that I think I like doing these matches everywhere. So thank you very much, everyone, and see you in the next match. There's a lot of I think there's 1 or 2 matches tomorrow. Anyway, keep.
I think like 3 actually.
Yeah, I think there's
matches.
actually 3 matches tomorrow. There's 2 going on at 1 o'clock, 1 p.m. tomorrow, and I think there's a later match. I would need to double check that.
When do we sleep already?
I'm sure we'll find time somewhere.
All right.
And then Nico will wake us up.
Exactly, with the dropkick. Okay, that works. See you, everyone, and see you next match. Bye-bye.
See ya.
Have a good night, everyone.